Hi everyone, and welcome back to our lesson for topic 3, lesson 3. So just as a refresher, in case it's been a while since you saw the other video, hopefully it hasn't, we are talking about two different situations where we are using exponents and multiplication. So the first one is when we have a base times an exponent times the same base and another exponent. It can be any exponent, it can even be the same exponent as before. And this we would change through addition. So we would add the exponents. So we would do 2 to the third times 2 to the sixth is the same as 2 to the ninth. And this is when we have the same bases and exponents. Okay, and I'm just emphasizing that again because once you add in the second set of rules, it gets a little bit confusing as to when you do which one. So if I had 2 to the third as my exponent, and then I'm raising this entire thing to the sixth, this is our next rule. It's called raising a power to a power, because here's an exponent to an exponent. And in this situation, we would multiply the exponents. So you'd get 2 to the 18th. All right, so we have two different possible situations here. And both of them are very important to memorize. So write down some examples, write down some rules in your math journal so that you can keep reference or that you can refer back to them in the future. And then we're going to keep going with our next practice problem here. And let's see, we have 10 to the third to the second. So remember, when it's a power raised to a power, we do 3 times 2, which would give us 6. Okay, power raised to a power, 3 times 4 is 12. Power raised to a power, 5 times 6 is 30. Let's check that and then head over to the Got It in your book. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Hopefully you got one of these answers. Let's take a look at the solution. Remember, this is 6 groups of g to the ninth. So we'd have 9 g's here 6 different times. So we'd have a total of 54 g's. So g to the 54th is where we're at. Okay, final part here, and then our key concept is just going to review these rules one more time. All right, in this part, it is talking about what happens when you have something like this. When you have, grab a different color, something like 3 to the third times 2 to the ninth. You have different bases, so it's talking about different bases, and we're going to talk about that by watching this video.
Consider the expression the quantity 2 times 3 cubed. Remember, when you're not sure what an expression with exponents means, write it in expanded form so you can take a closer look. Write out the expression in expanded form. First, the expression in parentheses is cubed. Now that you have two different bases, apply the commutative and associative properties to group the bases that are the same.
All right, let's just refresh what they did here for a moment. Remember, everything in this parentheses set is being raised to the third power. So that means I need 3 groups of parentheses, which is why they did 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3, because it's saying we need 3 groups of parentheses, 1, 2, 3. Then they're saying, well, we can do a few different things with this situation here, but we're going to first group them into like terms almost. So we're going to put all the 2's together, we're going to put all the 3's together. Technically, like terms is the wrong term to use, but hopefully it helps you make sense of it. So they're putting all of the 2's together and all of the 3's together.
There are 3 2's and 3 3's. That's the same number as the exponent.
Okay, so let's take a look what they did. They rewrote 2 times 2 times 2 as 2 to the third times 3 times 3 times 3, which is the same as 3 to the third. And they're noticing, hey, that's the same exponent that was on the outside of my parentheses. So let's stop here one more time before they start talking again and take a look. What do you think the rule is if I can tell you 2 times 3 raised to the third is the same as 2 to the third times 3 to the third? What do you think the rule is?
Notice that the quantity 2 times 3 cubed equals 2 to the power of 1 times 3 to the power of 1 times 3, or 2 cubed times 3 cubed. This suggests the following property. Power of a product. To find the power of a product, raise each factor to the power. The quantity 2 times 3 cubed equals 2 cubed times 3 cubed.
All right, so the way I like to show this, let me pull this up here. The way I like to show this is simply through distributive property. So you've heard of distributive property probably when you were in 6th grade. So if I have x times y, actually x to the third times y to the second, and that is raised to the power of 4, I'm going to say the 4 goes to this exponent and the 4 goes to this exponent through multiplication. So, and I'll show you why in a minute, but x to the 12th times y to the 8th would be my final answer for this situation. And let's go ahead and dive into y really quickly, and then this video will be over. So we have x to the third, which is x times x times x, and then we have y to the second, so times y times y. So this is my expanded form of it. This is what's in parentheses, so I'm going to put it back in parentheses to help me remember where I am. And let me take my picture here. So this is one set of parentheses. This is 2 sets of parentheses, and I'm very quickly going to run out of room, so I'll go ahead and put it underneath. This is my 3rd set of parentheses, and this is my 4th set of parentheses. So now I need to find out, well, how many x's do I have? So I'll go ahead and do x's in red. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12 x's, which is why I got x to the 12th. And then I'll do green for my y's. I got 2, 4, 6, 8 y's, which is why I have y to the 8th. So if you forget the rule and you're going, oh no, I forget what to do, expand it. Write it out as a full set of in parentheses, and then do what it's telling you to do. Raise it to the 4th power. And then you'll be able to remember the rule, or at least generate the correct answer. So in this situation, the rule is multiply the exponent in. Now what they were telling you in that first one was if you had something like xy to the second raised to the 4th power, what is we know we need to do 4 times 2 to give us 8. This would give us 8. But what about the 4 times this number? Well, there isn't an exponent with the x. So anytime there's not an exponent with the x, there's an invisible 1. I'm just going to try to dot that here, but it's really hard with a mouse. There's an invisible 1 anytime there's not an exponent on a number. So we're going to do 4 times the invisible 1, which would just be 4. All right, friends, I broke my promise and the video is not that much shorter. I apologize. But let's go ahead and review the different types of properties we've learned so far. Remember, when you're multiplying a power with the same base, we're going to add the exponents. When you're raising a power to another power, we're going to multiply the exponents. And when we have a power of two things inside of parentheses, we're going to distribute the exponent to both terms inside of the parentheses and multiply those exponents. All right, there's 3 different things we've covered today. So let's go ahead and jump into your close and check. And I actually want to do a few of these together. So you're going to do numbers 1 through 5. So if you want to, go ahead and pause the video now to do numbers 1 through 5 on your own. But if you'd like more practice, hang on to this video for the next few minutes and we're going to do this together. Otherwise, skip to the end of the video so you can see the answers. Okay, let's go ahead and do number 1 together. Simplify this expression. Remember, we have coefficients. Multiply the coefficients. 4 times 12 is 48. And we're multiplying bases that are the same, so we need to add the exponents. And so this would be x to the 15th. Okay. Number 2, go ahead and do on your own. Number 3, let's do together. We're going to distribute this exponent to everything inside of this parentheses. So the 4 gets it, the s gets it, and the t gets it. So 4 to the 4th power, ooh, that's 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4, which is 64, times 4, which I don't know off the top of my head, so I have to do 64 times 4 is 256. So 256, and then the 4 exponent gets distributed to the s. Remember, right now the s does not have an exponent, so it's an invisible 1 that's with it. And we're going to do 1 times 4 is 4. So 256 s to the 4th. Same thing with t. T doesn't have an exponent, so we're going to do t to the 4th as well. I want you to go ahead and try number 4 on your own. And then see if you can solve 5. It's a little bit tricky because it's working backwards, but see if you can solve it. All right, let me pull up those answers for you. Okay, number 2 was f to the 24th power. Number 4 was 343 q to the 21st r to the 9th. And D was the correct answer for 5. If you distribute that 3 into all of those numbers, you would get this expression up here. Great work today, everyone. Sorry for another set of 2 long videos. This is not going to be the norm for the rest of the year, I promise. These are just important concepts to take our time on because they are going to be used the rest of your math life.